We're kidding. We're here.
Good morning.
It's been one of those mornings.
It
So
has.
thank you for jumping in right with me.
No problem.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Thursday. We are one day before the weekend. Actually, this is pretty much the start of the weekend because tomorrow is Veterans Day.
Right. No
And
school.
so I think my school age children who are having meltdowns upstairs stomping around the house are going to have the day off. Yay. Yay.
A day home with mom and dad.
Yeah, we cannot wait. It's wonderful. So I've got Kelly Washburn in the studio with me from Enchanted Florist in Centerville. Thank you for joining me.
You're very welcome. I'm very excited and
And
don't
you
know what to expect.
came bearing all of these beautiful gifts.
Yes. We have a Thanksgiving arrangement
So pretty.
for your centerpieces. Come and order them in the next week or so because Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from today, people.
I was trying to do the math. Grab that
It's
microphone and put it closer to your face so I could
okay.
hear you better.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today is Thanksgiving, which seems really, really fast.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, no, but I don't think anybody is. I don't think they're really like in that mode quite yet. Halloween just happened, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, Thanksgiving, we got to get food, and who's coming, and how am I going to cook all this, and what should we put on the centerpiece on the table for flowers?
Well, what is in this arrangement? I am so bad with flowers. If you know me, you know I murder all of my houseplants. I'm like, come home to die with me. Welcome. Hi, Serafina. Hey, RTB. Good morning.
So there's sunflowers in here, and roses, and palms, or chrysanthemums. They're also called hypericum berries, goldenrod, green hydrangeas, leucadendron, which is this fun right here.
Oh, pretty. That is really cool
And
because it almost looks edible.
it does. It's kind of a funky, fun little touch. Um, and there's seeded eucalyptus around the edge, and just in a simple box.
How do you create this? Did you always have an artistic flair for creating these things?
I think that I did. I was trying to think back. I used to actually have a flower shop in the early 90s. My
Okay.
daughter was like 1.5, 2 years old, and a friend, I don't remember how it happened, but she encouraged me to do it, and she would handle all the business end of everything and the marketing, and I would just be the creative part. Um, that didn't pan out so great. But I did go forward, and it was called Flowers from the Heart. And I was down in the little cute alleyway in Hyannis off of down at the West End, down by the beech tree. And there were a lot of other little shops down in there. And I lasted there for about 2.5, maybe 3 years, I think it was. And it
Well, and you
was
also had a little person, and when you're not involved in the business of your business, that's a lot.
It was a lot. She, spent a lot of time when she wasn't in daycare at the shop, at 2 and 3 years old. But the problem was the location. They
Yeah.
always say location, 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 and that was very true. There was not parking. You couldn't see me from the street. Even if people were on the phone with me and I'm trying to give them directions, they were going around and around, and then finally
Yeah, if you
say,
make
"Forget
more
it."
steps for people to get at you,
Yeah, forget it. It's not going to
especially
happen.
this day and age. No, we're not going to work for
Right,
it.
yeah.
It needs to be deliver it to my mouth, put it in my hands, or else it's not getting done. It's kind of crazy the way it works.
It is. So I brought my cooler home to my living room, and at that time we did have the cell phone, so I just worked out off of my phone.
Really?
Yeah, and in my kitchen. For Valentine's Day, my mom and dad came down and helped deliver. I had a friend who had retired from her floor shop and closed it down and came over and helped me design. And
So you've always been doing this.
off and on, yes.
If you've never met this lady right here, she is the kindest human you've
Oh.
ever encountered in your life. You're just you have an aura about you. When you meet
thank
Kelly,
you.
she's just, it's the warmest thing.
gosh.
It's like getting a bouquet of flowers. That's kind of like how you roll anyway. But I never knew that you have always been in this space where you just kind of like, well, this is what it is right now, and we're bootstrapping in the living room. Get the
Yeah.
cooler. We're making some arrangements.
Right.
And now you're here with your own shop in Centerville. The evolution of Kelly has been
It's
incredible.
So crazy. It is so crazy. Yeah, the previous owner, um, Paula Johnson had she and I had actually I don't remember how it initiated, but even when I had my first flower shop, she either reached out to me or I asked her or somehow, but we connected and she was the first other florist that was kind and was encouraging. And we just sort of had a connection and stayed in touch throughout the years.
That's
I
awesome.
later in life worked at her shop. Not I don't think I ever did designing with her, but I helped her do deliveries for holidays. My daughter worked there one summer doing, cleaning
Well, she
buckets
learned
and
it from her
whatever.
mama.
And and then fast forward to like 2020, I think it was. I had done a wedding for a friend, a family friend, and Paula had always said, no problem to get the flowers from her. She just would charge me the wholesale price. And I had seen her in August of 2020 doing that. And she never said anything about selling the business. And then Labor Day weekend, she sent me a text and said, "Hey, do you know anybody who'd be interested in buying a flower shop?" I'm like, "What?"
You're like, well, what? My dream? Sure. Not a problem.
So,
Sign me up.
yeah, very quickly, it took like 4 months to make this final decision. We went through a series of, how in the world can I do this financially? All the things I'd be giving up that you get in a
Because you're in this
day-to-day.
alone right now, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had been in the medical billing field for 20 years, working the 9 to 5 job kind of thing. My daughter was older, but living with me, and I have a grandson who's now 8, and a new one who's 8 months.
Yay.
So fun. But anyway, other life things happen. My bonus son passed away in November of 2020. Paula had an injury, and so communication was kind of rough for October, November.
Well, yeah, it's COVID. Now you have a
Well, and it
shot.
was COVID too, right?
Like,
So
okay, what am I doing with this?
right, and so then it was like a week before Christmas. I'm like, I got all my ducks in a row, and I'm going to do it. Leap of faith, and signed on January 19th of 21. And here we are
Right?
today.
It's pandemic. Let's
Yeah,
make this business
right.
fly. But you're soaring. And I loved that I saw our friend Serafina over at your place taking
Oh my
product
gosh.
photography and capturing what you do because it really is beautiful works of art that you
Thank
let leave
you.
your shop.
Thank you.
You really I true you feel and I now I've got the back end of things with the medical billing because you know what? That's patience. That's also dealing with people and insurance companies and
Oh,
then money and being ill. So this is you've felt their pain
yes. Yes.
for 20 years. So you know what
And
joy.
frustration.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
how to bring joy to people is a much different space.
Mm. Yeah, it has been a very funny to me and odd transition, and it's kind of like people are like from medical billing to flowers, but like you said, not knowing the
Your
backstory.
skill was built for this. It's
So,
true.
yeah, but back to Serafina just for a second. Images by Serafina. If you need help with having high quality picture taking done of whatever your product is or your skill is or talent, she is the one to go to. She's fun, she's funny, she's amazing at what she does. And I was like in my element because it worked out that it was a quiet day in the shop, and so I could just, I was like, "Oh, well, let me do this, and I'll just, pull something together. Wait, oh, I have an idea. Oh," she could said, "What about Valentine's Day? Do you wanna put something together for Valentine's Day since we're kinda going forward and kinda getting ready
Yeah,
for
you got a
holidays?"
plan.
So I went downstairs, opened up a box of Valentine's stuff, came up, "Okay, how about this?" And found a teddy bear that was Valentine's to put beside it. And yeah, I was like on cloud nine. I said I was like a kid on Christmas morning because it was like the excitement was
Seraphina's
there.
going to be back on the show on Monday, by the way.
Oh
So
my
you'll be able
gosh.
to see her
Oh,
and talk
cool.
to her about
Cool.
all of this, which is just really awesome. But she definitely has such a great creative brain.
Mm.
And I love just collaborating with her because it's like always upping that level. And I feel
Yes,
like we both kind of like are the one uppers of like, what about this? What about this? And then it just becomes this magical, beautiful unicorn. And I'm
it's
so glad
very
that you got
cool.
to work with her because it
Yeah,
really is pretty awesome. So if you do need product photography or if you need logos or anything
yeah.
design wise, definitely reach
She's
out to
the
her.
one. She is the one. Yeah.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Edie. Thanks for joining us, Jackie and Ashley. We're sitting here with Kelly Washburn, Enchanted Florist in Centerville, where
Mhm,
I got to go fairly recently. It was October 18th,
mhm.
and you had another event. Speaking of pedal it forward and being kind and just passing it forward, she hosted this event completely for free
Mhm.
where flowers bring so much joy to people. When did you start getting involved with this organization?
Um, we
Because
s-
it's been around a while.
yes, it's been around well 8 to 9 years, I think. And was initiated by the Society of American Florists, which is a national program, I believe. And florists can choose to participate. And the premise is that you walk in the shop that's participating, you get a bouquet of flowers for yourself for free, and then you get a second bouquet of flowers for free to give to someone else.
Hmm.
You could give it, you go into the grocery store, give it to the clerk behind, the cashier or the bagger or the person behind the deli counter who's maybe had a really rough day, and just having one stem of flowers, the power of a flower is indescribable.
Mm.
Um,
I saw it firsthand. So here's JT and I bopping
oh my
around. We got
gosh,
music. And we've
it
got all
was
these
so
people,
fun.
but watching and witnessing people go through their natural daily drudgery. I got to go get my hair cut. I got to go to the bank. I got to go pick up my dry cleaning. I got to
Hmm.
go here. I got to go here and doing their regular errands
Right.
to see your neighbors and everyone surrounding that whole bubble see us, flying around
Right.
on 28. Like, what are
Oh
they
my
doing? What's
gosh.
happening over there? And
Right.
people just pulling in naturally because they just want to know the looky loose. And then when we present them with two bouquets of flowers, they're like,
It was very strange, and it was even funnier for me to see Stephanie and JT's reaction as well, to people who don't understand that they're getting it for free.
"Mhm,
It's sort of a, I think people at this time in our lives are just like, well, what's the catch?
right." Well, I mean,
And
to be fair, we've all walked through Central Park in New York where this lovely Harry Krishna man gives you free things and then wants you to sign in the book and give you money. There's
right,
always a
right,
catch.
right, right.
We've been doing it since the 70s. What do I get? What do I have to pay? What do you want from me? And it
So,
was none.
and there was none, and so people were sort of, not everybody obviously, but some people were taken aback by it and walked away from you.
Mm,
It's like, no, 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 that's all right. Yeah,
yep, I'm good.
yeah,
Keep your
yeah,
flowers, you weirdo.
right,
It
right.
was fine. And then there were people that were actually moved, people that were walking into the bank, people that just immediately like smiled and I know who I'm going to give it to. Or
Right.
I can't wait. I'm going to the post office. I'm going to this other place that could use a pick me up. I'm going here. This is going to make my wife's day. It was just the stories were really, really cool to sit and collect.
Yes. Well, actually, a funny thing happened in the afternoon. We got a phone call, and the woman said, "I got flowers on my doorstep, and I there's no card. I don't know who they're from." And we asked what her name was, and we didn't have a delivery for her. And then my employee, who was very intuitive, I will say this, Sharon,
She's so awesome.
she's awesome. And she said, "Did it have our sticker on it?" And she said, "Yes." And then she asked, "Were they just wrapped flowers with a bow on it?" And she said, "Yes." She goes, "Well, aren't you lucky? You're the recipient of Pedal It Forward." And so Sharon explained what it was, and that somebody must have, who likes her or loves her, left it on her doorstep as a greeting.
That's awesome.
And she was very antagonistic when she first called, and then by the end of the conversation had settled down, and
Well, also there
you
wasn't a creeper on her doorstep. It's somebody
true.
she probably knew in her life, and
Right,
she could
right,
settle it down. We could take
right.
this down 11 notches.
And her whole vibe and mood changed
Mhm.
after Sharon explaining everything and so forth. So next year, I don't know this for certain, but I believe it's always the third Wednesday in October. So next year it'll be October 16th because next year is a leap year.
All
So we
right.
jump
So
ahead.
make sure you plan for it and find us when you see us crazies. You're
Yes.
gonna have to come in the shop next year because
Yes.
we're gonna move over flowers. JT and Stephanie need space. So yeah, you're gonna have to come into the shop next year. I think it's gonna be a really fun event, and I'm really
Uh,
looking forward to it
I can't
because
wait.
it does bring joy and spreads joy, which I
Yes.
love.
Yeah. It honestly, when we did it last year, I was elated and it was the best day of being the owner of Enchanted Florist, and I was couldn't wait till this year. And now next year, I mean, like I already have ideas of what I want to do and how to get the word out more. We actually last year we handed out 70 bouquets, and this year we hit 100, which is what I hoped to do.
And we had like 20 minutes left. So that was really pretty
Yes,
amazing.
yes, in the day of
Yeah,
our opening time.
really exciting.
Yeah, so pedal it forward. Wait to hear what's going to happen, and look out for it next October.
And it not to flip it, but you're not always going to a florist for the most happy times.
True, true. We do a lot of funeral work, and your first reaction would be, "Oh," which is true. I mean, obviously, it's very sad when someone has had a loss. Um, but the connection and, um,
I know,
emo
I brought you tissues.
the connection and emotion that you make with a family that you've just met about their loved one, they often wanna, share a picture with you of what they look like and to just get a sense of who they were to them. And for me, that helps me make a connection with the flowers to create for them. And I have been amazed at the I have more people from funeral work who reach out to me with a note, with an email, with a phone call of, "You did such a beautiful job with your flowers for my mom. She would have loved this. And you made the day even more special for her in with your creativity," or whatever wording they used. And it's truly an honor and blessing. And we have a tradition that I've carried on that the previous owner did, that when a family does come in to order funeral flowers, we hand them just a single white rose, each of them. And that usually brings them to tears, and
Yeah.
there's usually a hug. And sometimes I have to go back and compose myself
Yeah.
because whatever the situation, um, of how they lost their loved one. So,
I love that you feel this though. This is the connection that you get when you use a local florist. This is the connection that you get when you use a local business because they actually do care about you, your family, your loved one, your space, your comfortability, your budget.
mm,
You actually care about all of those things and you're mindful of that. And you're here right now talking about it still moved.
mhm,
I mean, that's the difference in using someone that is a local business because you're part of it now. We're part of this community and I love that you bring that to your work. It's really important. We lose
thank you.
this when we just order online and don't have any feelings about it and don't talk about it. I feel like it's part of the grieving process.
Yes, yes. And
I know
that
we've had a heavy week this week, but I mean, it's very true.
true.
It's the whole package.
Um, to switch things for a minute, Stephanie, on that note of when you said calling online or ordering online, I want to talk and give you a tip about ordering flowers either in another state or in another town. We don't do what they call wire routes, or sent like you come in and order the flowers you want and then we forward it to another florist in that area. We don't do that anymore, for lots of reasons. Quite frankly, for one, it's not a moneymaker for us. It's a very small percentage that we get. For two, we become the middle person. So if you are looking at something and you want that, and we try to translate that to the person on the other end, the florist on the other end, and they don't fulfill that, then you as the customer are going to come to me first and say, hey, they didn't do what I wanted. Um, so then there's a lot of back and forth, and it just is not worth it. That being said, it's become, unfortunately, another area that has created a scam with flower ordering.
There's a scam for everything this day and age. You
There
have to
is.
be so. My phone rings probably 16 times a day. Scam likely. I'm like,
Yeah.
great. Telemarketer,
Click.
wonderful. I know. Just red button.
So when you order online, you are not necessarily getting an actual florist. Um, what happens is you call, you place an order, say for $100. I had one actually, this happened, a local person thought she was on our website and ordered flowers, $100 arrangement, and she even added on a $10 tip for the driver. When my delivery person delivered to her, actually, I'm sorry, let me back up. She ordered flowers to send to one of her coworkers. The coworker was not at work and wasn't going to be at home either. So we called the sender who ordered them and said, what would you like to do? And she said, oh, just bring them to me. I will get them to her. We did that. And again, Sharon, my intuitive employee, came back to the shop and said, she seemed disappointed. I just got a vibe that from her that she was disappointed when I handed her the flowers, because the order we received through the online was for a $45
Oh,
wrapped
wow.
flowers, which means not in a vase and arranged and ready to go. So I called her and she said, yeah, I ordered a specific arrangement. It was $100. I added a $10 tip for the driver, blah, blah, blah. I said, you got scammed.
Ugh.
And unfortunately, there's no recourse. You can't call that same number and get a person.
Right.
And they also use a different credit card to call us. So you don't see the $45 on your
Oh,
card.
wow. I had no idea that you could do that.
Right.
And you can't be the only industry that there is
Oh, of
this
course
kind
not.
of
Of course not.
vig. So, I mean, I
Right.
think it's really important to go directly to the business.
So what we offer now is that if you're needing to order flowers outside of Mid-Cape from us, where we would deliver, come in the shop or call us, have the zip code and the town that you're sending to, and we look online for you, and we know how to check and see if it's going to Sunny's Flowers or Avis or 1-800-Flowers or any of those. They're called order gatherers. They're literally a person in a hotel room just taking calls. Have no flower
I
experience.
have no idea what you're ordering.
At all.
Right.
At all. And we will make sure that it's like a brick and mortar. We look at the website. We know the things to look for to make sure that it's fine. We give you that name of the shop, the phone number.
That's really nice of you. You don't have to do that. And that's really nice.
And then encourage you to be on their website while you're calling. So what you're talking about and what they're talking about, you're seeing and talking about the same thing. So I have had occasions where we've got older folks who don't use the computer at all, and we
you don't say here on the Cape, never.
So we'll actually, there have been occasions where we call the florist while the customer's in the shop and they translate the information that they want on the card.
But you take the time because you actually care. That's the point of all of that.
Yeah.
You go through to save people from that and sharing with them what you've seen.
Right.
Firsthand.
Yes.
And that was really nice that you managed that perception, because she didn't say anything.
Right.
And so, yeah, you're lucky that you've got a person that works
I
for
know.
you that's
I
so
know.
great like that.
She's amazing.
Not everybody has employees like that. So,
No, no.
but I mean, once again, you're kind, so you put out what you get sometimes. I
Mhm.
appreciate that. Not always. Gloria, Kayla, Ryan, Cam, thanks for joining us this morning. We
Good
really
morning.
appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for tuning in.
We've got Kelly Washburn from Enchanted Florist in Centerville. And this woman is the kind epitome of this beautiful floral arrangements. But it's not just flowers that you do. You've got cute
Yeah.
little other gifts as well.
So this is just a very small one, but this is obviously a little Christmas oriented with some Christmas cookies and different flavored hot chocolates and some candies. Um, just for a fun little gift basket. We do those. For the holidays, I will have things on hand like this that,
See, I
you
would
know,
rather
what
send that than those boxed up arrangements with the stuff that I probably won't even open or use. I've got a couple of family members that send me those things, and I'm like,
okay.
what do I do with this?
Right.
I don't even
Right.
like half of this. Nobody in my house even likes half of this. That I'd rather. That's more inviting.
It is. And so when you order a gift basket, we can alter, you know, if you want fruits and cheeses in it or um more, you know, crackers and cookies or whatever it is. So if you're wanting certain things in it that I need to go shopping for them, then we need a 24-hour notice to do that. But that's usually not a problem. But other things like this that we can just have on hand and put together that day is fine too. And it can range from, you know, $60 to $150, $200, depending on how large you
How
want
much
it.
you like them.
Yeah, how much you like them.
I'm totally kidding, but also yes, that's real.
Of course it is. Like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
That's a
much.
$60 budget right there. No more.
Yeah, yeah. So just be aware of just come in and see us
Yeah.
and look around and see what we have to offer. We have beautiful orchids, and it's not just the orchid in a pot. We kind of zhuzh it up with some other kind
I
of
love that.
mosses and curly willow that comes out tall and
She zhuzhes like no one else.
zhuzhing is important. I don't even know where I got that. I mean, I know that's a word that
we
people
all know
use.
what it is. We know what it is.
Right, but I find myself using it a lot lately.
Kelly and I were laughing because we were looking over like the news of the day and what was happening. And I saw that it was the 20th anniversary of Elf. And then this one over here walks in with the best cup ever. Congratulations. I was like, yay. Bob Newhart says to this day, it is his most favorite role he's ever had.
Oh my gosh.
And it's silly and it's fluffy, but it's become iconic.
Mhm.
It's definitely part of the season. And I really enjoy that he said that that's his favorite role of all time. We agree, Bob Newhart. Although I did like the Newhart show.
Oh,
Now
I
I'm
did
dating
too.
myself.
I know. I watched it too.
Right?
Suzanne Plachette with that
Right?
voice. Hello.
That's awesome. So Kelly has also been so phenomenal to bring us these gorgeous gifts. And it's not always about the gifts, and it's not always about the sad times and the good times. You work for arrangements for this if people aren't feeling good, some other occasions that you work for. And you and I were talking intimately at the shop about sourcing your flowers, because I feel like you actually care. And by the way, if you've got any questions about your arrangements, your plants or whatever, this one is an encyclopedia of all of the knowledge. So drop it in the chat if you've got questions on how to make things live longer.
I will try to answer your questions.
You've even got them.
And if I don't know, I'll find out.
You've even got them up in the shop though. So when you're shopping with one stem or because you can make your own bouquet in your shop, which I think is also fun. So I'll let you have the floor because this is your area of expertise. I kill everything.
So people often come in who haven't been in our shop before and just say, oh, you don't have any bouquets? And I said, no, we do them a la carte. So every flower is in its bucket with a price on it per stem. And you can have one, or you could have the whole. I mean, we have some folks who come in and, do their own thing at home with their arranging, and we'll take the whole bucket of all the flowers in it, which is fun and fine. But then I don't have them. I might have something in my head that I was going to use something for. I'm like, okay,
dang it,
got to switch gears. Um, so yes, so you can come in and we wrap them in clear cellophane and with a food packet and with greens and a pretty bow. And it's like a presentation bouquet, like, Miss America. And it can be one single rose. It can be a Gerber daisies
Yep.
are a popular
Well,
one
because they're
to have
bright
nice.
and fun and
They're a
they're
happy,
hardy.
they're a happy flower.
Yeah, they
It's a
really
happy
are.
flower. Um, and so it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a huge, $50 to $100 bouquets, although people do come in for those. I have one guy who comes in every few Fridays and said, okay, my usual 30 to 40, somewhere in that range, gives us like a color scheme. And then we'll pick for you. If you don't know, that's fine too. We can do it for you. And you can say, oh, I don't really like that one. That's fine.
Well, then he gets to go home and be the hero, and it's
Right.
changing seasonally, which I
Right.
love. And it
Right.
just brings a pop of there's something about fresh floral arrangement in your house. And my husband was, oh, I don't get it. And I'm like, you don't have to get it. It brings me joy. Leave me alone. Let me look at it on the table. Dawn says live plants like a cactus. I can't even keep those alive, Dawn. I love the
Oh,
arrangement on the desk. Edie says it's beautiful. Yes, she is
oh, is that
making
Edie
these.
Hayes?
Yeah.
Hi, Edie. Love you, girl.
Yep, Kelly is making these for Thanksgiving. Call ahead for Christmas arrangements as well. You've got
Mm,
a beautiful tabletop. She will make it gorgeous. Rich said,
yes.
I watched Santa Claus 2 last night.
Oh, love
He's
those.
getting in this season. And good morning, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I love your shop. I feel like it's perfect for the recitals are coming up, all of your ballets,
Oh
all
my
of your
gosh.
nutcrackers, but to go in
Yes.
there and make a cute little hand
We
presenting
do
bouquet.
we do quite a lot of the recitals when they come around in the holiday season and then in the spring, for the Nutcrackers. and
Hmm.
and yeah, it's so fun because like we ask, I guess, like you've said before, we kind of want to know what the occasion is, how old the person is. Are they 5 or 6 years old? And so giving them a $50 bouquet of flowers is
It's
a little
silly.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You want something a little smaller and sweet and kind of, appropriate for the person and the occasion. So we do that. And we just, it's kind of amazing sometimes when I think about all the things that we do offer. I mean, I personally love making bows. I love combining different colors
I need a
together.
bow workshop. Can you do a
I
bow
would love
workshop?
to
Because
do
I really
that.
suck at them. I'm a terrible rapper. I'm just a terrible presenter. I usually throw it in a I'm a throw it in a bag
Bag,
kind of
tissue
gal,
paper,
and I'm not
done.
messing with it. My husband just rolls his eyes. He's the one who spends hours and hours wrapping things. He's quite good at it at this point.
Oh, good.
Michelle, her shop is in Centerville.
We're in the Centerville Plaza in the short strip closest to 28. I'm right beside Minuteman Press and a couple doors down from Coach Light Carpet that's been there forever.
Hmm.
Oh, and plugs. While I'm talking about other businesses in the plaza, yesterday
I'm so proud of you for this.
I am proud of myself because I was kind of scared to go. So I have not been to a professional hair salon in over 4 years. I had a person who had gone to school and would cut my hair, just kind of trim it up, clean it up a little bit every like 6 months, 4 months, whatever. And she didn't want any money. I would pay her in chocolate.
Those are the
Then,
friends you need.
yeah, then that kind of went by the wayside, and I learned to do it myself. My bangs were in my eyes one morning, couldn't stand it. I'm going to cut them myself.
We've all been
One
there.
one side in the back looks a little too longer than the other. We can do this. Let's try this.
These are called pandemic haircuts. Don't recommend.
Nightmare. And so I was just getting so happy. I'm like, I need to do something before I go on air and for all you beautiful people.
Oh, I love that you got a haircut for this. I was the catalyst of you doing this.
You are. So I called Innovations, which is right beside Dunkin' Donuts in the Centerville Plaza. And they said, "Oh, I have an appointment." They haven't had an opening around 2:30. And my person Sharon was working yesterday, and I said, "Can you stay for like an hour longer today so I can go do this?" And she's like, "Sure." I went over there, and the person I had spoken to was not the person who makes appointments for
Oh
hair.
no.
So she's like, I'm not I don't see you in here. And I said, well, they don't know that she put me in. I was going to just show up and see if she still had that appointment open. Anyways, her name is Jade and she's one of the owners and she took me in and I full disclosure of who's been taking care of my hair for the last 4 years.
She's like, honey, sit in the chair.
She's like, "Okay, let's see what we can do here." And then she's like pulling him, she's like, "Oh, did you cut over here yourself?" I'm like, "I might have. I don't."
Maybe, maybe little Edward
So,
scissor hands over
anyways,
here,
she was
cutting flowers,
right,
cutting hair.
exactly. Yeah. She was very patient with me, and she did a fabulous job. And then she said, after cutting and blow drying, she's like, "Do you want to curl it and give it a little more body?" I'm like, "Why not?
Right? I'm
Let's go.
here.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
do
go with
this.
it." I've never. So, thank you so much to Jada Innovations in the Centerville Plaza. Um, because I felt lovely afterwards. But I will say this was hilarious. I looked in the mirror after she was all done. I said, "Oh my God, it's my mother." I look like
There
my
she
mom
is.
because my mom does a little coif and curl, every couple of weeks and has her hair done. And
I
I'm
think
like,
it's important though that you address this. It had been years since you did something for
mhm,
yourself.
yes,
Since I feel like as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as the people that are just always like in constant work mode,
mhm,
constant like doing this, doing that, that we do not take time for
first,
ourselves.
right.
And then we feel guilty about it. I forced myself to get a pedicure because these hooves were barking this week. And I was just like on the phone trying to relax.
That's on my list.
I had to put my phone away and just like sit there and make myself. I'm like, you will relax. You will
Yeah.
relax. You will. You
The
will.
whole time I felt my shoulders like I'm like, just try to relax. Just let her do her thing.
Once again, that self dialogue. I'm
Yeah.
not very nice to myself in my brain. So I'm having this conversation and I'm going to see Joy today over at Sea Salt. I'm very excited. I'm having my
Mm,
afternoon, but I'm like squeezing it around all the other things that we have to do. You know what I
right.
mean? So I have to tell myself while I'm there, relax, relax, just relax until it
So
does.
yesterday was my day for me because
Mhm.
in the evening, I'm a member of West Parish of Barnstable Church, and years ago we used to have a group that called WITS,
Mhm.
Women in the Spirit, and it kind of it was awesome.
I
It was
like
awesome.
that.
We got together once a month at someone's house, and we had a theme or we made something or whatever. It was just a time to be together as women in faith and fun and support. And it has restarted. And last night, one of the women, Kathleen Warren, who does the bowls
Mhm.
and the vibration
The
thing.
sound bath. I need
Oh
one.
my gosh. She's actually been at Just Breathe before.
Well, I need to see her.
Um, and she was going to be there last night. And I said, "Oh, I haven't done that for a long time. I love that. I miss my girls." And it was at 7 o'clock in Sandwich. And I'm like, "Ugh, if I get all the way home to West Yarmouth, I am not going back out." So I
Mhm.
stayed at the shop and
Especially when it gets dark at 3
oh
PM.
my gosh. Yeah. So I
So
just
uplifting this time of year.
so I stayed at the shop and got some other things done and then went from there to the event and it was awesome and it was just wonderful. It was
Good.
just yeah.
Schedule time for yourself.
Yeah.
Put it in your calendar. Make an appointment with yourself. Make a date. And especially
Mhm.
when we're now entering holiday season of crazy and
Right.
busy,
Right.
make a date still for yourself to maintain your sanity. Sit and sniff your floral arrangement if you need
Right.
to, whatever it
Right.
is that's going to get it done for you today. Schedule yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Um, I do want to talk about what was the other thing? Your
Weddings?
oh,
Bows?
bows. I wrote bows,
Oh,
Christmas, anything that you're doing something special for
yeah.
the holidays.
Because often uh you want to decorate and you don't know what to do and
This is me all the time. I want the front of my house to look good. I want my window
right.
boxes dressed up.
Yeah.
I have no time for this. I go and I buy 2 cabbages and I'm like, I'm not going to make these an arrangement. It's just not going to happen.
Right. So
I need you.
we do. I would love to come to your house and decorate it for you, and it can be super simple. It doesn't have to be this big elaborate thing. Honestly, just like Christmas screens and a couple bows in your window boxes or on your door or in your urn that you have flowers in all summer and into the fall, but don't know what to do in the winter or for the Christmas holiday. Um, just call us or come in and talk to us and see what we can do. People often, just on another side note in regards to that, people bring containers in. Like if you have a special container that's either been in the family or you just like to bring it out at a certain time of year, but don't know what to put in it, we will do whatever you want in, within reason, in your container. So we offer that as well if you have something. It happens. We have a couple guys actually, who have like one or two vases, and they come in every few months and they say, "Can you just do something in this?"
Yeah. And you're like, absolutely not a
They
problem.
Yeah, they tell me colors or a specific flower that needs to be in it, and then they come back later that day or the next day to pick it up.
I mean, that's the personal service that you're going to get
Yeah.
from Enchanted Florist in Centerville. Also, if you've got those leftover vases or just stuff kicking
Oh,
around, you have a recycle. Yeah,
donations,
you've got a little
please.
recyclable program, which I have 2 full cabinets right now. You're not leaving without them.
Okay.
You're here, you're taking them with you if you have
You
room in your
I
car.
do actually.
Because I've got so many just containers that people send the flowers in, and then I put them in the cabinet. And I'm like, I never pull them out of the cabinet. They just sit in there and gets pushed back.
Pushback, yeah. Oh, I'll get those another day.
Right?
Yes, because containers are still a problem.
Scarce.
Yes, not all of them, obviously, but we have certain ones that we use for certain arrangements that are on our website, and there was one that we went almost 8 months without, so we were, using whatever else. So donations are very welcome if you are cleaning out your closet, your garage, your basement, whatever. Even if it's 2, but we have had people who bring like, we had a woman that brought, like, 6 bins of vases that she clearly had collected for 20 years or
Right?
so.
Thank you.
And you don't have to worry about washing them. We wash and bleach them, on our own anyway, so, you don't have to take the time to and worry about that. Some people have put them through their dishwasher, though, say, "Oh, these have been cleaned, they're gone went through the dishwasher," and I'm like, "Okay,
I was
great,
like,
thanks."
no. Look
Not
at
not
soap embedded
necess
in them.
Yeah. Some can't be used, some have a crack or chip and whatever, but, then we take them to the dump. We recycle all our cardboard
I really
at the
want you to
dump.
start doing some workshops, and I know in all of your free time,
Yeah.
but
Well, this
bow
is
making, arrangement basics,
yeah,
and keeping flowers
yeah.
alive are things that
Oh,
skills that I need in my life.
keeping flowers alive. So, this arrangement on the desk is
Mhm.
in Oasis, which is the green foam that absorbs water and keeps wet. But you do still need to water it. So, you want to take your watering can or whatever vessel you might have that's
Mhm.
thin, and you go inside in,
Right into the middle.
into the middle to water it.
Okay.
Um, my other tip for that would be to put your pinky kind of inside the liner area, because in this instance with the box, if it gets wet, it's going to get wet and then your table's going to get wet. So you don't want
Mm.
that to happen. So kind of put your finger in and you can pour a little bit, feel when it reaches the tip of your finger, so you don't over water it. And that usually is something that you can do once a week or once every 5 days in this scenario. If you have a vase arrangement, you really should, not only be adding water, but after 4 or 5 days, hold it all the way out, cut the bottom, and refresh,
Oh
change
my
the
gosh, that
water in the
smell of that
vase.
water.
It can be gross depending on what flowers are in there.
Oh, that's what the smell is? The flower
The
itself, like
flowers
decomposing smell?
or the greens.
Ah,
So, in all arrangements that I do in vases, there are no greens in the water because that just is bacteria waiting to grow.
I knew it.
Yeah. So when you get flowers at the grocery store, um, actually last night somebody brought flowers from the grocery store to the host of the event and asked me to put them together for her. And
We're like, I can't. My hands will not
yeah.
allow me to touch these
No, I
disgusting things.
did,
No, I'm
but
kidding.
I cleaned them up and I took all the greens off the ends of the stems and made a mess on her counter, which I obviously cleaned up
Perfect.
afterwards. But because I can't stand that. It's a little
Well,
OCD
and
thing for
that
me.
you work in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
realm.
Right. Right. So
And it's good to know because I always want my beautiful flowers to last as long as
right.
possible.
Well, and the other part is that many times the flowers in the grocery stores have been dyed, and the dye will color and make the water gross
Okay.
also. Yeah. Um, I am not a fan of dyed flowers at all. No. And actually, a new fun thing, if you like blues and purples, there's a grower that has now learned to grow different shades of blues, like a periwinkle blue, which is my favorite color anyway, and purple chrysanthemums.
Oh, really?
They are not dyed, and they just have come out like a month ago for the first time.
That's exciting.
So we've had them in the shop, and those have been fun to use.
So talk about sourcing your flowers because this one's like up at the break of dawn going
Yes.
driving for flowers places.
So Monday mornings I go up, and sometimes again on Thursday. So I'm up at 3 in the morning, and I get to the market hopefully by 5 or shortly after when they open. And it's just a huge, huge warehouse.
That's excitement though. I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind of like Christmas morning where
Oh,
you're
it
going and
is.
I'm like picking all the good stuff.
And it's like another family.
Mhm.
And all the vendors and what their lives are like and what's going on, and catch up with each other and what have you. And they're just, and it is fun. um and there's certain vendors that always have like cool and different
The
things that not
innovative fun
everybody has.
stuff.
Yeah. So I always like to hit them up first and just see what they have. And you can just kind of walk through and you grab your stuff and put it on the counter, and you leave and come back later, and they're like, "Oh, that's enchanted stuff." And um so yes, I hand pick things. And sometimes I was laughing with a woman the other day, another florist, because she's like, "Oh, those don't look so good." That's something that was on my cart. I said, "Oh, I know. They just gave them to me. So yeah, I know they're not the best, but I might be able to use them in
Something.
something. Like
Mhm.
there might be on a stem one out of the 5 flowers that are okay." Because that does happen. Like they get broken or mushed or whatever, but there's still that one
Mhm.
glowing star. Um, so, but even when you look at them at the market in your, tired eyes and the lighting in there, and then you get home and you're like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" And
Yeah.
then I have to say, "Oh, those weren't so hot," and they'll give you a credit or say, "Oh, no problem, we'll take care of it." And so, yeah, it's and certain things, it depends, like, with what's happening in Israel.
I was gonna say you and I were chatting about sourcing some
Yeah,
particular flowers, and I
there
didn't realize that Israel was a
you'd be amazed,
flower.
yeah, that they come out of there,
Yeah.
right? Um, so there are some things that aren't as readily available, like it's pink larkspur for one reason or another
Strange.
is not available, and the purple is hasn't been great. It's was much better this week, but um so you never know until you're up there. And honestly, I just don't have the time to like watch the news and say, "Oh, this is happening in this country right now, so I can't get A, B, or C." Like,
I don't think anybody has that
no.
time.
So you kind of it's sort of a for lack of a better word, a crapshoot
Yep.
of what you're gonna
Well, it's the
find.
market.
Yeah, what
It's
you're
just
gonna
like
find when
sourcing
you're there.
food. It's the
Yes.
same situation
Yes,
where
yes.
there's scarcities in some things. Some things are seasonality. Some
Right,
things you just have to deal with.
right. And then on the seasonal thing, some things definitely are, but like for instance, tulips that are clearly a spring flower,
Mhm.
we have them now. They're in the market, but they're also more expensive because they're
Mhm.
growing them out of season.
Right.
But then there's other things that, roses you can get year round. It doesn't really matter because they grow them so many different places around the world. They can ship them in from anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of that, your poor hands, they just must be so painful all the time. I'd be stabbing myself left and right. I'm like, still got a bleeder. Here I am. Like, seriously.
Stat.
Right? Or does it get to like chef's hands where you don't even feel it anymore? You're like, whatever. I've been
Yeah.
stabbed 45 times today. I'm good.
Sometimes there's what happens for my hands. It's not actually cuts, but from the
The
dryness and
water.
the water, dryness
Mhm.
and water, they split, and then the bleeding happens or the pain happens.
That was my mom when she was a nurse, and she'd always just like raw hands all the time.
Yes,
That's what I
yes.
remember. I'm like, don't touch me with those things.
I know, I know. My youngest grandson is like amazed at them when I come home and I still have my band-aids on and my thing, and he's like,
Poor Gilly.
he like looks at my hand and wants to touch that
Oh,
part. I'm like, oh
oh,
no, 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 no.
100%. At
Yeah,
least that's
no, no,
kids.
no.
What's going on here? Let me squeeze it.
Right.
Let me touch it.
Oh,
Is
and
it the
he's so
most painful
strong.
part? Let me push it.
Yes, yes. He gets it right on the end somehow. Oh my goodness
And I
gracious.
forget that you're, being grandma too, and
Oh,
all of this aspect of running a business, making sure you're going to the market on Mondays and Thursdays, and then finding time for enrichment activities. I
yeah.
mean, when I tell you that you need to support local businesses, this is why you're doing it, because of
Thank
people
you.
like
Thank you.
Kelly. You
Thank
really
you.
do go
Yeah.
all out and make sure you get what you need. Good morning, Christy, Joanna. Oh, I know. I missed you. Carrie, nice to see you. Good morning, Junior. How are things over at the restaurant? Hope well. Junior's the same thing, always trying to create,
Oh,
always trying to innovate. And you're
sure.
feeding people, and people get bored, and you've got to
Yeah.
find new things and new
Hmm.
ways to capture their space.
I can't even imagine the food
Well, I mean, it's the
industry.
same exact situation. Any final tip you want to leave us with, or anything specifically you want to say about what we've
Um,
not covered today?
I would say weddings
Hmm.
are still happening, and we actually have, I want to say, like 7 or so booked for next year. So if you are newly engaged or know somebody newly engaged or um, are getting married again or having a vow renewal, just come and see me. We again, very budget friendly. We have done weddings, believe it or not, day of. We've had people come in
Like,
the
I'm going to
morning
make it work.
and say, "I just need a bouquet and a boutonniere. We're getting married at 3 o'clock today on the beach." No lie,
Okay.
no lie. Um,
Let me just
sure,
magic that up for you.
bing.
Get the world's best cup of
Just
coffee
touch my,
ready.
just
We got
touch
to
my
make it.
nose. Right, that's right, that's right. So, and then we have weddings that they have 7 or 8 bridesmaids and 20 centerpieces and the church and everything else. So we do full service with that, and we would bring the wedding party flowers to wherever you're getting ready and dressed, then go to the ceremony space and decorate that, and then to the reception as well. And in some cases, I actually have started renting things.
Really?
So, for instance, a wedding we had in October, we decorated chandeliers
Oh,
and it came out really, really pretty. So we did silk greens, but then we added a few fresh greens as well
nice.
to add to it and to give it a little more um,
Depth.
affect for it. So the silk greens were a rental, but that means the next day we go and have to take them down
Hmm.
and collect them. And things like structures, like we have what they call a broken arch, where one side goes up higher and the other goes up shorter, but they
That's
don't
nice
meet.
to know
Yeah. So
before people are buying things and going
right,
crazy with stuff
right.
that they're never going to use again.
Well, yeah. Where would you use that
Christy
again?
says, go Kelly Washburn. She is a superwoman. Megan
Uh,
says, love Kelly. Flowers make the world
oh,
better.
Megan.
Kelly did my wedding flowers. They were so beautiful and exactly what I wanted.
Who's that?
This is Christielle Ray.
Oh, Christy.
She's the best.
Zumba girl.
I know.
Love
She's
her.
so, her energy.
Oh
Speaking
my
of
goodness.
which,
Like yours.
when we talk about surrounding yourself, you are the sum of your 5 best people that you surround yourself
Hmm.
with. I really mean it. You really need to surround yourself. And we have such fabulous, wonderful women here on the Cape that you need to be spending more
Yep.
time with.
Gosh, I don't know what else to say. Just
This is it.
come and see me. And honestly, the wonderful thing about having the shop is that I'm stationary
Hmm.
and I'm in a public place. So if you're a friend of mine or a new friend or I met someone the other day actually who we had been Facebook friends through Pampered Chef days, and then recently from she's on my Facebook page for Enchanted, and she was in the shop, so I got to meet her in person.
Yay.
But my point is just come in and say hi. Don't feel pressure that you have to buy something, but because I love people. I love my connections with people.
That's really important, though. It's approachable, and no job is too big or too small, which I love that you're just
Yes.
kind of like, all right, well, let me plan for it. Excuse me. Ugh, gross. Sorry. But there's no job big or small that you can't
Right.
handle. You're like, well, let me see if I've got the means. And you'll
Right.
get it done, which I love.
Yes. It is fun. It is fun.
Enchanted Florist. They're in Centerville. Go see Kelly Washburn. And just lighten up your day. Plan for your arrangements. Tomorrow on the show, it's Veterans Day. We're going to have RTB on the show. We're going to be talking about our experience at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction
Oh my
ceremony.
gosh.
That was insane. I still can't even believe that I was there and like 5 feet away from some of my musical heroes.
I'm getting goosebumps.
It
The
was
pictures alone that you had were
I
crazy.
kept looking at my friend John and RTB and I'm like, is this real life? Are we here? Is this real? Am I having a fever dream? Is something going on? So we'll talk
Very
about just
exciting.
that
Very
magical
exciting.
historical moment. And also we're going to be thanking our veterans in a very special way.
Yes.
Stop on by Knockabout on
Oh.
Sunday. We are doing buy a vet a beer. So you can just come in and buy a beer and we're just going to put them on the cork board. So if you're a
Oh.
veteran and want to come enjoy a free beer at any point and any time, you can come and just take a ticket off of the wall and your beer is already paid for you, which I think is a great little
That's
thing
awesome.
we're doing.
When you do come into Enchanted Florist and you are a veteran, you do get 10% off. Not just tomorrow. We do that year round.
Perfect.
So come and see us for that too, and just have a magical day.
I love it. I'm charging you with it. Go have a magical day. So says Kelly. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
You did it. Cheers.
Yay.
Gonna end the stream here.